Lake Champlain is home to one of North America's greatest mysteries. Join Small Town Monsters as we explore America's Loch Ness, following researchers, listening to eyewitnesses, and examining the evidence. This is On the Trail of Champ. Given Lake Champlain's size, there is quite a variety of geographical and natural features around the lake. Immense cliffs, such as the Palisades. 80 islands scattered through the lake. Various large rivers and creeks feeding into the lake. A whopping 300,000 acres of swamps and marshes surround the lake, providing additional waterways and wetlands.
It's a curious body of water. I can certainly believe there's some unknown form in the lake, also the way it connects up to the St. Lawrence Seaway and so on. Also, Lake Champlain's a large enough lake that we've had shipwrecks. You know, there was a woman's body that was sort of preserved at a very deep level of the lake that was discovered a number of years ago. And I honestly believe almost anything's possible. It is a large enough body of water. Most people have that plesiosaur image in their head, so the thought, even at the most childish level of our reckoning, would be maybe there's still this dinosaur-like creature living in the lake, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Some areas look as primal as they might have been thousands of years ago, the ideal setting for a monster, some might say. And indeed, sightings of Champ have taken place in some of these locations, such as the many Champlain marshes.
There was a gentleman driving his car down this road, and right across the road here, from this side that empties into this bay over here, an animal came out of the woods and out of the marsh, went across this road, and went off into the lake right here. And it was a really interesting sighting because there was marks of a tail, a drag mark of a tail, and also print of actually four-toed print, which was really interesting. I do a lot of in the field work, going out in these marsh systems where there has been on-land sightings. We set up game cameras, and actually we're getting into where we get live feed from the game cameras, where they go right to our email and text message, which is really, really cool. So you're sitting at home and you get something, and all of a sudden, ta-da! Either it's Champ or a raccoon or whatever. It's something right away that you get, and you can actually go right down to the spot and see if you can, have an experience on live time.
The murky depths of Lake Champlain contain 300 known shipwrecks. The presence of caves around the lake left over from the Champlain Sea has raised the possibility of undiscovered cave systems in the depths of the lake that could be utilized by Champ creatures. Researchers William Dranginis and Scott Mardis believe that studying these depths may hold the key to discovering Champ.
It's been a few months planning this expedition up here, Lake Champlain. The major purpose of the expedition was to get on the lake, use my boat. The boat's name is Explorer. Use that boat as basically a base of operations on the lake itself, being on the lake 24/7.
Yeah, well, Will and I have worked on and off together since 2009. So, Will brought his boat up, and we went out with underwater cameras, night vision cameras, hydrophones, 3D side scan sonar.
Also, we're going to be doing some hydrophone recordings, different parts of the lake, different sections, different depths. And that's going to be looking for echolocation, usually in the sound of quick clicks, similar to dolphins and whales, things like that. So it's very interesting work, and it's going to be a great time. The size of the boat allows Scott and I to spend the nights in the boat, to actually deploy some of the cameras, the underwater cameras, during the daytime, do some night vision reconnaissance also from the boat.
Yeah, it was a little farther.
If you'll keep looking, if you go north, you'll see it'll stay around 300, 350 in that area.
Look for the buoy. Let me bring it in, excuse me. I'll keep looking here. It's up straight ahead.
Yeah, we're retrieving an underwater camera, silhouette camera. It's pointed upward to where if something swims over the top of it, you'll see the silhouette from the sunlight, the shape of it. We've left it deployed here for a few hours. I got it.
Well, this is a iGotcha H2O camera. It's an underwater surveillance camera. It uses an off-the-shelf time-lapse camera made by Brino. And what it was designed to do was to look from the bottom up at the sky above the water surface and take pictures every 5 seconds. So anything floating above it, you'll have a nice silhouette image of what it is. Boat, kayaker, fish, that sort of thing. It's basically anchored at the bottom of the lake with this anchor. About 30 feet down. It sits about 3 feet, 4 feet off the surface of the bottom of the lake. And again, it's always looking up towards the sky, taking pictures every 5 seconds. The pictures go to an SD card. Batteries and SD card. It lasts about a month during daytime filming. The camera's programmable, so it turns off an hour after sunset, turns back on an hour before sunrise. Works pretty well. That's the camera lens inside. So that was a system I designed and built. We deployed those a few years ago here at the lake, and we're deploying them here at the lake this year. Stay around
399,
Yep.
350. There's a deep channel that goes all the way up past the ferry docks. And then once you get past the ferry, that's where those sightings in Charlotte happen. Now,
Lake Champlain is notorious for its sporadic and unpredictable weather. A calm summer day can quickly morph into a dangerous storm.
the best luck we had was we got some kind of really interesting sonar contact over near where the Bodette video was filmed. It's got a big round blobby body and some kind of appendage coming off of it, and possibly the indication of two little snorkel-like objects, which are commonly reported in these monster sightings, horns, snorkels, or whatever they are. But we just don't know what it was, but it appeared to be fairly large, at least 10 feet long. I've got to do more analysis on it to work out the exact size, if that's possible. It was moving, because it was initially right under the boat, and then it moved, and it changed position, so it was moving. Whether it was alive, I don't know, you know. But it was moving, and it appeared to be solid too, unlike a school of fish. But that was July 4th, and then later that night, I was listening with the hydrophones, and we got some kind of vague clicking sound that resembled the sounds that Elizabeth von Muggenthaler recorded in 2003. But they were very faint. The wave action, the sound of the waves was drowning it out, so. These sounds remain unidentified. They haven't been directly connected with an animal yet, so, but it's assumed that it's some kind of an animal making this sound. Can't rule out that it's fish making noises of some sort, because a lot of the fish in the lake make sounds that can resemble echolocation clicks of a whale or a dolphin. As far as we know, plesiosaurs did not have the ability to echolocate like a toothed whale does. But maybe these sounds, you know, are for a different purpose. They might be just to stun prey, they might be to communicate with each other.
This is what I believe the people have seen, especially my mother and sister. I don't believe it's all humps and everything. I believe that it's a long neck, and the fins right here guide it along the bottom, because all they got to do is move them, and the faster they move them, the faster they will go.
Charlie Auer runs the Auer family boathouse near the mouth of the Winooski River, north of Burlington, Vermont.
You were at the Auer family boathouse, formerly the Charlie Auer's boathouse. This is down the end of North Avenue. We've been here since 1928.
Various Champ sightings have taken place in the waters near the boathouse, including that of his sister and mother.
Quite a few years ago, my mother and sister were sleeping upstairs. I wasn't here, I was home. And the dog started barking. My mother looked out the window to see what the dog, see if she could see anything, and in the boat ramp, there was something in the boat ramp, head sticking out of water. And so my sister Chris came out, came to her side and said, "What are you looking at, Mom? What's the matter?" And she said, "Do you see what I see?" And she says, yes, I'm glad you do, because who's going to believe it? If I told anybody I saw something swimming out there in the boat launch, who's going to believe it? So they called me. And when I came down, my headlights, I believe, scared them away because I drove up by the boat ramp. And I got down there and just saw something, I didn't know what it was, moving out. And the night was probably a light gray because the light was on it. Whatever this thing was dark black, and we could see it going into the night. My sister said she saw two of them that time. One big head, one long neck, and one small one. And a lot of people said what we said in the paper was underneath the streetlight. And they said, a lot of people, that made them disbelieve because they said, he's never been seen on land. But this is a boat ramp, and the water's in it, and the light's there, and that's how they saw it, underneath the streetlight. Before that, we never saw an after, but before that happened, the couple, Mr. and Mrs. Hubbard, that used to come down, and they had a boxer dog. They got in a boat, and they left. Well, instead of coming back at 4:30, 5 o'clock, they were probably about an hour or less rowing right back with the boat. And they just pulled it to the dock, tied it, and left. They did not tell me what happened, but the dog, they couldn't quiet the dog down, and he was frothing from the mouth. An object about 50, 60 feet from his boat came along and through the grass and where they were sitting there in the boat, and the dog started barking and growling, and the dog was really upset, and so it scared them too. So they pulled up the anchor and rowed the boat around and came in here. He left in a hurry on account of the dog and his wife. They didn't want to tell nobody because who was going to believe them what they saw? A big head coming out of the water, about 2 feet or whatever out of water, swimming by him and awake in back of him. And he said the dog didn't believe it either because he was going crazy.
The mouths of the rivers around Lake Champlain contain an abundance of fish. The Winooski River in particular is a place where landlocked Atlantic salmon spawn. Given the presence of sightings in these areas, Katy believes these rivers and creeks are prime research locations.
We are near the mouth of the Winooski River, right near a major marsh system called Delta Park. And there have been many on-land sightings in this area, in the marsh as well. It's really interesting to find some of these cut-through areas out here in the marsh area. And this is a perfect place for these animals to get an easy meal since the water is so shallow in these areas, and it's also a great place for them to camouflage and hide as well.
Lake Champlain's size, tough geography, and challenging weather often can create problems for researchers scouring the lake, combing through relatively small chunks of the lake. But with luck, perhaps someday their efforts may pay off and surprise the world. Or at least, they hope so.